Policeman, archaeologist, scientist, teenaged kid. Just who is this Blue Beetle guy anyway?
Armor, did you see her? Yeah, but bad in a hot way.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we will explore the comic book origin of the Blue Beetle.
And why are you encouraging this?
All hail the blue one! All hail the blue one!
As with most comic book characters, there are often reimaginings and different versions to a character's past. We've chosen to primarily follow the storyline which unfolded in 1967's Blue Beetle number 2, which was expanded upon in 1986's Secret Origins number 2, 2006's Blue Beetle number 1, and 2011's Blue Beetle number 1. There have been several characters who have taken the name Blue Beetle in the comic books. Most contemporary readers became familiar with the character when he appeared in DC's Crisis on Infinite Earths miniseries in 1985. But Blue Beetle had been around a long time before that. The first Blue Beetle popped up in 1939's Mystery Men Comics number 1 as a regular beat cop named Dan Garrett, who by night put on a slouch hat and a mask to fight crime as the Blue Beetle. Within a year, he had adopted a more typical superhero outfit and gained super strength thanks to a special vitamin. This version of the Blue Beetle, with some modifications, turned up again in 1964, but he quickly gave way to a totally new Blue Beetle in 1966. Debuting in Captain Atom number 83, this Blue Beetle possessed no superpowers, but didn't need any. He was a millionaire scientific genius named Ted Kord, whose inventions, physical prowess, and beetle-shaped flying machine made him more than a match for most criminals. It turned out, though, that there was a connection between this Blue Beetle and the Dan Garrett version, as revealed in 1967's Blue Beetle number 2. This secret origin issue revealed that Ted Kord had once helped his scientist uncle on some top-secret experiments. His uncle was seemingly killed in a lab explosion, but in fact he had faked his death so that he could use the formulas Ted had developed to create an army of unstoppable warriors. Ted discovered this deception and approached his old colleague, Dan Garrett. Not a cop in this version, Garrett was a respected archaeologist whose skills Ted needed to track down his uncle.
It's time to grow up.
Dan and Ted found the villain's secret lair on Pago Island. Captured, Dan revealed that he was actually the Blue Beetle, and that he had been given superpowers thanks to a mysterious Egyptian scarab that he had found. Dan managed to defeat Ted's uncle, but it cost him his life. As he lay dying, he made Ted promise to carry on as the Blue Beetle, which Ted did, although without the use of the scarab which had granted Dan his special powers.
You're just some ill-equipped boy playing dress-up.
When DC Comics began publishing Blue Beetle in 1986, they retold his origins. It was kept mostly intact, but with some modifications. For example, in the retelling, Dan Garrett was Ted's professor, not colleague. Also, Dan knew that his scarab powers were the gift of a mighty Egyptian god, and he used a special phrase, Kaji-Da, to transform into the Blue Beetle. In recent years, Ted Kord passed away, and the mantle of the Blue Beetle fell upon a teenaged boy named Jamie Reyes. He found the ancient scarab which had given Dan Kord his powers, which then fused itself to Jamie's spine.
I'm still trying to figure out the on button for this thing.
It turned out that the scarab was actually of extraterrestrial origin, as were the powers that it bestowed. The scarab was able to coat Jamie's body in a nearly impenetrable armor, as well as provide him with superpowers and a range of alien weaponry. Also, in a nice touch of continuity, the name of his scarab is Kaji-Da, the secret word that Dan Garrett also used to transform into the Blue Beetle. The Jamie Reyes version of the Blue Beetle has turned up in several DC Universe TV series, always making a striking impression.
They got away.
But you'll have them back here in no time with the superhero services of Blue Beetle, and I'm sorry, I don't think we've met.
He may be a teenager who didn't train to be a superhero, but Jamie Reyes has what it takes to carry on the proud Blue Beetle tradition.
Oh, sidekick must not speak in such tones to the beetle.
Yeah, sidekick.
Are you a fan of the Blue Beetle? For more comic book origins, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
You have saved our people. More importantly, you have shown us how to save ourselves.